The following program is a paid presentation by Sarah Set Fargo. Take ownership of your health. This is Smart Health with Dr. Alla, helping people help themselves.
Welcome. It's Thursday and you're all winding down as the week has been probably full of responsibilities and getting kiddos ready to get back to school, maybe back to university. Maybe you've started a new job. Maybe you have switched careers. Maybe you have just been diagnosed with something that is seemingly feeling devastating to you. All of those are part of our life that is something we refer to as stress. And we tend to always try and kind of push it under the carpet, if you will, and we say we're fine, but your body might be saying otherwise. So today I wanted to chat with you a little bit about stress. I'm Dr. Alla, and I've been practicing for about 32 years now. I have an emphasis on brain and nervous system. I look at it from a perspective of full body. I don't try and give an isolated area of problem. I want to look at it as a concerted system. And when we talk about stress, every single cell in your body is part of a decision that is being made. If you are feeling frightened, the entire body's involved. Every brain cell, every skin cell, every hair cell, every cell. Because when you feel frightened, your breathing changes, your heart rate changes, your blood pressure changes, your focus changes. It starts to use your energy and you start to feel less and less of you start to feel less of a capacity to be able to handle things. So when you're saying you're fine from a intellectual or perhaps a non-complaining kind of response and your body doesn't, it's time for us to learn about what is it that the body is doing when confronted with things that make it uncomfortable. I think stress is the most important part of everyone's journey because that's what makes us stronger. That's what keeps us alert. That's what keeps us focused. That's what keeps us interested in new things, even though we tend to associate stress with always a negative connotation, which it's not. So today we're going to talk about how the stress of life causes what we would term medically a physiologic response. Now, you may just refer to it as, man, my jaw is tight. Dang it, I have a headache again. My shoulder feels flared up. I don't know why my back went out. I wasn't really doing anything. I feel a little bit anxious today, and I don't even remember what caused it. My tummy is totally upset. I don't think I ate something wrong. I don't know why it's there. Or perhaps you refer to it as IBS because that's kind of what we do in America is we shorten everything and we just use acronyms. And all of you probably understand IBS. If you don't, it's an irritable bowel. It sure is irritable. And when it can't control its elimination or its processing because of some event that we're interpreting as dangerous to us, the body will respond with a symptom. You certainly have heard of people being a little bit more edgy, or perhaps you've confronted those people that are a bit edgy, and perhaps they're dealing with some sort of mental stressor that's now literally showing its ugly face on their face. Maybe you see them scowling. I have a tendency to do that when I'm stressed out. Maybe they're just exhausted, low in motivation, just can't get going. If any of these are familiar to you, perhaps you want to listen in and lean in to some of the things that I would hope to share with you today that may help shorten the course of these things that do cause suffering. These symptoms that we describe or these signs that we are aware of may be related at times to a medical condition, and you need to obviously heed attention to that. But a lot of times, it's our thoughts. It's what we are planning for. It's what we're uncertain of in our future. It's that start of school and the unknowns. All of these things can play a role in how our body is literally responding to the stressors of life. So think about how many of those symptoms or signs that you yourself have experienced and start saying to yourself, maybe I need to improve my response to stress more ideally rather than complain of stress. Maybe I need to stop, put a little time between my response and learn, how is this going to benefit me? Many times there are things in our lives that we put focus and attention on, and it's really not ours to put focus and attention on. I have a beautiful family. I have a daughter who's going to be moving apartments tomorrow. I'm going to head down to the Twin Cities. And of course, I caused a little stress for her today when I said, by the way, I'm coming to hang out with you, not to clean your apartment and pack you up. When I get there, it's all going to be done, right? And so the old mom that would be the ruler and telling her how to do things, I would tell her we're going to do this. And now I just said, I just wondered if that's what your plan was. So it's how we respond to the things in our life that we either deem a lesson, which is great, or a stressor. When you say things like, I'm living the dream, you got to check back in with yourself. Because you know what? We are living a dream in America still. We have every opportunity. We have so many things available to us. And that in itself can be a stressor unlike any other. I mean, honestly, if we were on a deserted island and really no other distractions, we'd still be hanging out fishing for that meal that we so need for our body to be able to rejuvenate and live another day. Our lives are definitely multifaceted in the entire process of stress, but don't let it be a negative stress. Learn to respond more effectively. When we come back, I'm going to share some ideas about what our process of Cereset can do to help your brain help itself. We'll be right back, and I love that you're here listening to how stress is affecting your life. Welcome back, and let's talk about something that you might not even know exists. What if there was something that didn't include using a pill or a lotion? What if there was an amazing opportunity for your brain to hit those three amazing buttons on your keyboard, Control Alt Delete, and reset itself? What if you could wake up more rested? What if your mood was more controlled, really by your design rather than your reaction? What if you had boatloads of energy and you could just do the things that you've always wanted to do and didn't even think about stopping? How about when stressors come, like school starting, or perhaps the holidays are just on the edge? I mean, there are all things pointing at Halloween at this point in time in the retail space. How about if you truly had clearer thinking? So you sit down, you knock out your projects with such ease, and you celebrate your success rather than always feel you're stuck, you're kind of losing ground, you can't do this, you feel overwhelmed, you start identifying yourself as someone who's anxious, or you identify yourself as feeling sad, maybe depressed, and you really don't necessarily always have a trigger. Well, the process of Cereset, which means cerebral reset, the Control Alt Delete for the brain, helps your brain harmonize. Harmonize, you know what harmony is when you listen to beautiful choirs sing. It's just like makes your skin just vibrate. It's just beautiful. Your journey on this earth is dictated by your response to stress. And the more robust you have as far as your response to stress, man, you have a way better time. Whether you're sitting in school or you're participating in a sport, or perhaps you're sitting in a CEO's office planning the future for the company. Maybe you're at home and you're a mom and you're a homemaker and you're just knocking things out of the park. You have your freezers full. You have important fridge management. That's important in my house. What about just being in a state where you're so gracious and grateful? If you're not feeling that your life is going in that direction, Cereset may be the next best step, because our technology helps your brain go into a pattern that's more ideal for it. wasting less energy, improving how your mood sits, because now when the brain becomes balanced and harmonized, things roll off you like Rain-X a little bit easier. All of a sudden, you are funny again rather than sarcastic, because they are both things that could lead to a laugh, but they're not necessarily the same kind of laugh. What if you once again felt like your intelligence is back? It's sharp. You're not walking into a room like a kitchen wondering what you're doing in there. Well, in the kitchen, you have a refrigerator and a stove, maybe a dishwasher, a microwave likely, maybe a coffee maker. I mean, why don't you put some pause between why I'm in that room and instead walk out, say, I don't know why I'm in here, and think about it. You'll probably, if you put some space between what you're currently feeling as stress and your response, you'll probably figure out why you're in that room instead of immediately assigning yourself to early onset dementia or Alzheimer's, which are very serious things that you probably don't have. But when you start to negatively associate your lack of memory, or you start to negatively associate your mood, or you start to negatively associate that you don't sleep well and you never have, you are definitely training your neuroplastic brain into believing that that is the truth. And pretty soon, you become the insomniac. You become the one that identifies yourself as anxious, and that replaces your name, which is not true, but it does. You become the one that gets easily agitated when you shouldn't be, because what you should be practicing is gratefulness. And when I'm speaking to you folks today that are listening in, I'm speaking to myself, because we all have our seasons on how we respond to stress. And if there is something that kind of aligns with where you are in your journey, and you're thinking, I need my brain to work more optimally, well, then give us a call at Sarasat here in Fargo, and we can definitely have a conversation about how we start the process to determine if this is the next ideal step for you to reach the goals that you've set for your mental strength, for your mental prowess, for your focus and attention to detail, to make you the successful person you've always known that you can be, but feel maybe that you have some things that are kind of tripping you up right now. You never give up, you plan. One of the more important things I learned today, I was speaking with a client on the phone, a wonderful gentleman, and he was referring to how when his busiest season while farming kind of comes to an end, and he's a cattle farmer, and then he has this lull, he says it trips him up. It sometimes puts him into a state where he can't focus. He starts to get into his own head. He may become a little bit down and out in his mood. And he says, it happens to me every June. And so we chatted, and I said, well, you're no different than I am. As soon as I stop planning and giving my brain direction through goal setting, through target setting, through dreaming, wanting, wondering, maybe reflecting on all the things that the good Lord has graced me with, that's when I started to get into my horror movies in my own head. And they start to play, and they start to make me question. And all of a sudden, my physical body is starting to change. I might complain of a headache, or my neck is jacked up. I can't turn it, and I haven't done anything to, injure it. Or perhaps I'm not having good restful sleep. I'm starting to get short in my temper. I'm starting to get sarcastic. I'm starting to lose my patience. I'm starting to make erratic decisions that always lead to more chaos. And there goes the stress response. And how the body responds to that stress response is a chemical soup. And that chemical soup can really set you off. Now you start to have gastritis or gastrointestinal issues, which you may cause or you may call IBS, or you have acid reflux, or you use the terms GERD, or you may have an onset of headaches, or maybe you get dizzy, or maybe you get lightheaded, or maybe your heart palpitates, your hands are sweaty, and you start to really physically experience these things that you artificially started to think about in your head because you put too much time into the equation without really designing your life. So when you're feeling anxious, you're feeling down, you need a pen and a piece of paper because there's something to be said about directing your brilliant brain, the executive of your life, to do what you want it to do. Many of us have the opportunity to sit with ourselves, and we never do. Rather, we spend time being busy. Sit down with yourself, Kelly, and figure out what you want. Focus on the things that are important to you, rather than, by default, keeping on being busy and not productive. I'm Dr. Alla with Smart Health. We're going to be back in just a moment. And again, let's talk a little bit about how to help the brain help itself balance. So your mood improves, your sleep improves, your thinking improves. You start having energy that's available to you at all times, and joy comes back into your life. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back. Let's talk about how do you help yourself improve your response to stress. Well, you got to do something different than what you're doing, and you have to do something. You can't just sit idle. And so let's talk about how the process of Cereset can help your brain help itself become a more robust system that's organized, that puts your thoughts into a better state, that allows your mood to be better, that allows you to be a higher operating individual, so that whether you are at a little league game, or perhaps you are starting college football, or perhaps you are a professional that's trying to move up a ladder and really improve your professional success, or perhaps someone who wants to be better at their financial status by learning more rather than spending more and wondering, what do I do now? I want you to think about how it would feel if you woke more rested, if you truly were a better communicator. Well, the process of Cereset is a non-invasive technology developed by engineers, brilliant engineers, I may say, a system where your brain has the opportunity to literally listen to itself in real time. And you, the participant of the process, get to sit in a recliner, comfortable, temperature-controlled room. You have the availability of just resting your eyes in a closed position. You have a blanket on you. Maybe it's weighted, maybe it's lightweight. It is what it is for you, the best course while you're going through a session. You have earbuds in your ears, and what you're listening to is tones that your brain is directly generating in real time. When the brain hears its own electrical reflections through sound, it has the opportunity innately, because it was made to be so brilliant without our influence, to reset itself, to balance itself, to harmonize itself. What do you experience? Well, every single person who undergoes the process of Cereset experiences it uniquely. For myself, I cannot tell you how deep of a restful state I experience. And for me, every time I go through a session, it helps my brain promptly reset itself to the degree when the session is over, I pop out of that recliner and I'm like, get out of my way. I got things to do. If you're someone who's trying to get back to that kind of groove in your life, Cereset is for you. If you're wondering how to contact us, go on Cereset.com, Cereset.com, and check out the brilliant information on our website. If you want a phone call, give our office a call in Fergus Falls or in Fargo. Reach us at 701-566-5231. And share this show with others that are struggling, because the majority of Americans are somehow dysregulated with their response to stress. And we need to start acknowledging that stress is not the problem. Stress is there to keep us alert, keep us aware, keep us in the know of the changes that we are to adapt to, not react to adapt to learn from. If you've lost a job, there's another opportunity waiting for you. If you failed a class, there's an opportunity for you to reconsider a different career choice that you may have chosen initially because everyone else told me to. When you start to respond to stress more ideally, you become a better decision maker and you start to make them faster. If I could teach my daughter anything in life, it would be make decisions quickly. And whether they're good or bad is the indifference in this conversation. What's important is that you can stake your ideas in the ground. And if they're wrong, you can learn from them. When we do not make decisions quickly, we sit and idle, and it starts to affect our mental prowess, and it starts to affect our physical health. It starts to, in some cases, put it to an extreme where perhaps we stop eating, stop drinking, we become this different person, or we could take us on the other extreme where we're eating too much, snacking all the time, and trying to mitigate our stress feelings through food. Obesity is a real thing in America, but so is anorexia. Smoking, alcohol, drinking too much, gummy bears, modified gummy bears, all that stuff on the internet that can start to steal your time. And you get sucked down that rabbit hole just like any other human unless you're conscious of whether it is serving you or it's causing you to become a slave of it. Social media has such great opportunities for us. Great for our kids to learn certain things. But when it becomes your new drug, you start to lose your ground on how you respond to stress. You become envious, you become jealous, you become frustrated. So be mindful where you are going to put your energy, because that's where your brain's going to hardwire itself. And it may not be in your best interest. Cereset can help your brain help itself become a much better operating system. We all need to have a reset. And Cereset is one of the greatest ways that I have found for my clients, my patients, my family, and for sure myself to improve my response to stress. Cereset.com. Check us out. Give us a call at our Fargo office, 701-566-5231. And when we come back, we're going to talk about how having better control to your response to stress makes you smarter, because you do need to learn how to live this life at the highest level without stress slowing you down. I'm Dr. Alla with Smart Health. We'll be right back. Welcome back, and thanks for joining me today. A beautiful Thursday. We had a little bit of rain. I live in Fergus Falls. It was so pleasant to feel that and hear that, since I do have a garden, and I was hoping that maybe the good Lord would water it instead of me turning on the hose every night. What do you do when you are overwhelmed by stress? You have to have a toolkit. You have to, number one, throw humor in it. Throw humor into your toolkit. If you can't laugh some of those uncomfortable times in your life away, it's going to be a harder journey for you. You have to let it be. You have to learn from those times. And you might want to take the frown and put a smile on it. Maybe you shake your head. Maybe you do the old V8 commercial, knock yourself on the forehead. But you have to somehow understand that this journey may have been designed for you to have these obstacles, these hiccups, these times that feel a little bit uncomfortable or perhaps devastating. Sometimes we lose our family members way too early, and that just stinks. Maybe we lose our job. Maybe our finances get upside downed. Maybe we get ill. Maybe we get, just our moods get overwhelmed and our mental wellness starts to decline. You have to have a toolkit. Throw humor in there, number one. Your physical body will mitigate stress if you move it. So is movement important? It is the most important thing that you can do. It's often, a conversation about going to the gym and working out for that 30 minutes, 45 minutes yoga class, maybe Pilates class, maybe it's a boxing event, maybe it's Taekwondo or karate. That 45 minutes is not enough. Your body needs to move way more than you're moving it, especially if you're feeling the negative effects of stress. So make a commitment to move more. You also need to surround yourself around people who lift you up, not give you a pat on the back, not like give you some sort of false hope. People who you can learn from, mentors, not necessarily people that are any smarter than you, but people who may have figured out something that works really well for them that maybe you can emulate. Getting outside is an absolute necessity. The sun has a purpose. The stars have a purpose. Those bugs and mosquitoes flying around you have a purpose. Share a little bit with them. Would you share some of your scents and your times? Be outside more often than you are inside. I was telling my husband the other day, as soon as summer and fall are over, I'm going to have to figure out what to do in the winter because I'm not coming inside. I've gotten so accustomed this year to being outside as often as I can, for as long as I can. Well, number one, my biggest motivator is Tater Tot and Nova, my pups, that I get to spend time with and watch them destroy my garden. But that's okay because it doesn't stress me out. It actually gives me time to spend with something that just lights me up. Get lit up about life. Put a light in your toolbox. Get up earlier than you usually do. Spend some time with the sun shining on your face if it's out that day. Or spend some time meditating about all of your dreams and desires. Not working through the negativities that you've already assigned for your day, like one of them being going to work. It's a privilege, and it's our duty to do bigger and better each and every day. And I definitely put that as a benchmark in front of me because I would like to be a servant and help others help themselves. Help the brain help itself. Cereset is another tool for your toolkit because it's non-invasive. It's not going to cause any harm. There's no downtime. You get to let your brain truly have the opportunity to rebalance itself from maybe an imbalanced set of time that it's been in. Maybe it was trauma related. Maybe it was frustration related. Maybe it was because of a divorce. Maybe it was because of an illness, a loss of a family member. Maybe it's an aging parent that's causing some stress upon you because you're trying to juggle that while you still have kids at home that you're trying to raise. And now you're in the tug of war of life. Maybe you're a people pleaser and you have that personality that you must identify immediately and do something about. You weren't put on this earth to please anyone. You need to be grateful for everything, there's no question. But you need to put your energy back on yourself and the things that you want to do. If you don't start becoming selfish in life, you will never be selfless. And selfish doesn't mean that you're taking or stealing or doing something against someone else's journey. It's you putting the time and investment in yourself because there is no more important investment. And maybe Cereset is the next investment you put in yourself, where you help your brain optimize, where you help it become the best version, where you help it change its response to stress so that your sleep improves, your mood improves, your energy levels increase. All of a sudden you think more clearly. And when new stressors come your way, you become kind of expert at handling them, making better decisions and making faster decisions. I'm going to be right back to close out our show. I'm so grateful you're here today with me. I'm Dr. Ala with Smart Health. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back. If you've been thinking about some of the things that we've been discussing today and you're saying, hey, this is me, then I want you to reach out to Cereset.com or give us a call at Cereset Fargo, 701-566-5231. And we will definitely help guide you along how this process may help your brain help itself. Remember the important things that stress can leave you with. It can leave you scarred with fatigue. It can leave you scarred with insomnia. It can change your appetite. It can change your attitude. It can take away your concentration. It can make you feel less like yourself and more like an imposter. So you owe it to your brain to invest in its ability to optimize. And Siriset is a great next best step. But you have to learn more about it. And that's what we want to do, is to help you make a decision to help your brain be its best version. So when you're thinking about how stress affects you, start paying attention to the signs that it literally shows you. You can just take a look in the mirror and see your reflection. And you may see someone who looks sad, mad. You may think you need to, put on a different mascara, but sometimes maybe you just need your brain to give you the opportunity to put on a different reflection. Siriset is a process that can help you help yourself become a person that you know yourself to be. It is non-invasive, it's not painful, it is absolutely majestic. Remember, you guys, you have to learn because knowledge beats fear. You have to move because that's your duty to give the body an opportunity to do what it was designed to do. Your brain has these changes that it makes every day. Learn from them. Help it be its best version because health should be intentional. I'm Dr. Alla. I'm with Siriset Fargo in Fergus Falls. I want you to design your life. Stop living it by a default. I'm here to help people help themselves, and I can't wait to hear from you. Thanks, you guys. Have a great Thursday.